Hello viewers and potential subscribers, you are watching UnknownEmerald, and in this video I've got a little bit of a treat for you guys. Me and my friend have recently started playing the Arkpocalypse servers, which is a server that resets once every month, and we had a little bit of a late start to it. We started about a week after it's been released, so we really didn't make much progress during the time. All we had at the time was a 3x3 base and some spike walls to defend our teams, and that's it. And we actually killed someone from a different server. I think it was a Ragnarok server, and he has claimed that he will be wiping our base on that very day, and that's exactly what this video is about. Is him coming back for a base and him bringing a lot of teams, like very intimidating teams like rock golems, wyverns and griffins. And yeah, I was just doing my own thing during the time. I was just making some defenses, preparing for that thing to happen, and then my parasol has detected an enemy, and I thought, okay, this is it. This is how it's gonna end. We really didn't have much defense, just a few turrets and a few plant eggs to defend our base. And I walked outside, I looked around a little bit, and there I see a wyvern. And I was also too focused on defending the base during the time, so I didn't turn our audio on. So I'm just gonna be talking you guys through exactly what our thought process was during the raid defense. So I see the fire wyvern and I'm gonna be flying my RG to it now. I thought to myself, oh, RG has 400 melee, it's not gonna take it that long to kill it. And I was actually thinking I might be on neutral, so I was gonna bring it to our plant X and kill it that way, but then realized that it wasn't, so I just started smacking it with my RG, hoping that it would make it bloody and kill it very quickly, but that wasn't the case. So I then got off my RG and grab my C4, put some C4 on it, and of course my C4 has glitched out, so I was only able to put 4 on it at the time. I backed away from the fire wyvern and I blew it up, assuming that that would be enough to kill it, but it wasn't. I only needed like 1 or 2 more C4, and my C4 kept on glitching out. I come back to it, I throw 2 more C4, I come out and I blow it up, and then they lost the fire wyvern. That was the very first thing they have lost. I was trying to see what loot it had on it, but I wasn't able to, as someone started shooting with a shotgun. I'm assuming that was the guy that flew the wyvern in the first place, and I had to retreat very quickly. I was going to pick him, but I wasn't really sure whether the guy would be able to like whip me off my RG, as they did come from a Ragnarok server. I would assume they have whips, so I didn't want to risk it at the time. And of course I had to record it with my Xbox DVR, as I was very excited about that kill. A parasol was still detecting an enemy outside the gates in the area where I just killed a wyvern, so I walked outside with some clubs. I had some boulders and parachutes, and of course a crossbow and a grapple. If you guys do not know, if you have a grapple and a crossbow, you can just grapple to the ground when you get picked by something like a wyvern or a griffin, which is exactly what those guys were coming at us with. I walked outside and I tried to find the guy. A parasol was still detecting him at all times when I was outside, but I just couldn't seem to find him. I didn't know where he was. I walked around a little bit, and there I see a body bag, and I think to myself, that's probably a raptor that got killed a few minutes ago. And I walk up to it and I see that it's actually the fire wyvern that I killed a moment ago, and it had a lot of loot, as in a lot of good loot. It had some bullets, it had some turrets, and I was panicking at the time. I was so excited about that, so I just took all the valuables that I could, and then I rushed back to base. And of course I had to put up those turrets straight away, as if those guys got those turrets they would be able to put up a pillbox, which at the time I didn't know. I thought they wouldn't have a pillbox, as I just took all those turrets from there, but unfortunately later on that was not the case. And I put up the turrets on our base, and there I see something that terrified me to the bone. I see a rock golem approaching a 3x3 stone base, and I think to myself, well, this is it. And this is where it starts getting really fun. I jumped on our Argent Tethers in hopes that I can pick the rock golem rider off the rock golem and bring him to our base to get him killed, but unfortunately I was unable to do that, as they have already set up a pillbox in the tree line outside our base. Luckily for us, those turrets were set to players and tames. If they were set to players only, we'd just be getting shot with our dinos and we wouldn't be able to approach the rock golem or the pillbox at all. But since it was set to players and tames, our teams were able to tank a lot of those bullets for us, and we wasn't getting shot with our team straight away. So that was also a very big, silly kind of like mistake from them at the time, and we were able to take advantage of that and tank a lot of those bullets with our dinos. After a little bit of soaking, Argentavis was getting a little bit lower on health, and I didn't want to risk losing the bird as that would have been a big punch in the defenses, so I went back to our base and switched to a Rex instead. A Rex would have been able to tank a lot more, but at the same time it didn't have a better saddle than a primitive, so it really wasn't able to do that much more than the Argentavis, but I did have 10k health and I would have been able to absorb a lot more damage, so that's exactly what I did. I approached the pillbox with our Rex instead. Whilst I was trying to do damage to the rock golem, my friend was actually giving me sniper support by shooting the sniper on the enemy team. After our Rex was getting a little bit low on health, I took that back to base as well and switched to C4 instead. We were unable to make rockets at the time as we weren't high enough level. We were only about level 82 max and the rockets required us to be level 87, so that was a little bit out of the question at the time, so we had to use C4 instead. But C4 did a lot of damage to the rock golem. We were able to do a lot of splash damage, even though if we weren't like directly able to put C4 onto that rock golem, since it was just in the area of the C4 exploding, it was still taking a lot of the damage from it, so we actually able to do a lot of the damage with the C4 that we had. So that's exactly what I did. I did a lot of damage with that initial blast, especially when it actually hit the C4 with its hand. I put C4 around its foot and then it hit it. It broke all my armor, but yeah, it took a lot of damage, about 1500 damage when it did that. So I went back to base. I was very low on health, so the quickest way to get my health back up would have been to kill myself, so that's what I did. I just jumped on top of one of our forges and boop, I died. After respawning, I got an idea of exactly what to do to prevent that rock golem from throwing all those rocks at our base. Since our base was made entirely out of stone, eventually that rock golem would have been able to just destroy the whole thing without having to tank a single bullet on top of our base, so we needed to prevent that from happening. I went outside the base and I put 2 stone dino gates to kind of like buy us some time, and I very quickly realized that I was not going to buy us any time at all. Those stone dino gates really didn't last much, so that just proved how quickly our stone base would have been destroyed if I didn't like put those stone dino gates over there. Our base had to be protected somehow, and we needed ingots, so I bought us some time with those stone dino gates, and I had to demolish some of our stone metal structure that we were actually building. It was going to be our second base right next to our main base, and I needed to get some ingots off of that, as we just used up all those ingots making bullets and turrets to defend our base. So I got some of those ingots, and I was actually going to build a pillbox much closer to the rock golem where he was throwing those stones at us from, and yeah, I was actually able to buy us a lot of time with those stone dino gates, more than I expected, but that wasn't enough. I was making those structures in a smithy then, and I thought to myself I needed a distraction, and our Rex was still alive, so yeah, that's the distraction. Our Rex was gonna buy us a little bit of time, just enough time to allow me to put that pillbox up.
To all the crazy things that I shouldn't mention. Not really sure, but it feels like my feet are glued to the floor. Don't wanna open up my mouth, 'cause I'm afraid of what's...
After making all the necessary structures for the pillbox, I quickly went outside the base and started putting everything up. The idea was when the rock golem was throwing rocks at us, I would turn the pillbox on and would shoot the rider off, but whenever I was trying to tank the bullets with his back facing us, I would turn the turrets off and it would be unable to tank the bullets. So whenever I was throwing rocks at our base, I would turn it on, whenever I was trying to tank, I would turn it off. If the rock golem is facing with its back forward, you're unable to shoot the rider off of the rock golem, but whenever I was throwing rocks at you and it's facing you with its face forward, the turrets can directly shoot at the player on top of the rock golem. So that's exactly what I was doing. I was just turning it on when it was throwing rocks at us and turning it off when it was tanking. And then when I was able to like be a little bit more safe with the pillbox around us now, I kind of like rushed the rock golem and tried to do a little bit more damage with the C4, and I was able to do another 1500 damage to the rock golem when I was trying to tank extra bullets. Unfortunately I died, but that was enough to prevent the rock golem from doing further tanking, as it was put to very low health and had to retreat during the time. Once again, once the rock golem was trying to throw more rocks at our base, I would just turn the pillbox on and it would kill the rider off, and then turn it off again when it was actually tanking the bullets. With the rock golem out of the fight and now it being nighttime, it was the perfect time to go and destroy the pillbox. We took a berry, collected our trike and walked it all the way around the tree line to try and get behind the base.
So you and me will kiss the sky goodnight.
My friend began soaking the bullets, but they very quickly clocked onto what was happening. They jumped on the Griffins and went after my friend, and I had no other choice but to rush the pillbox with the C4 that I had in my hand. And as you can see, I was panicking quite a bit. I threw my C4 kind of like half and half on this wall and half on this side, so it didn't do the full damage and didn't destroy the generator that was on the inside, which was my mistake. But luckily enough, even though I was panicking, I was still able to put out one last C4 onto the wall and destroy the pillbox. My friend was doing a great job at keeping both of the Griffins occupied whilst I went back to the base, turned the pillbox back on, jumped on an RG to try and help him out, but unfortunately there's not much you can do against the Griffin if all you have are RG Tevises. Maybe with a Pteranodon I would stand a chance, but we didn't have those at the time, so I went back to help him out. They didn't even kill the trike, they pushed it off the cliff, and I was able to kind of like whistle O on it, and I was trying to get it back to the base, but the Griffin was trying to pick me, was trying to dive bomb me and kill me off of my team, but then luckily it actually started raining during the time, so I was able to take cover in the trees, and the Griffin was unable to even find me, because on the island when it rains you really can't see much in the night or in the daytime for that matter, so I was able to get away from that Griffin very easily and get the trike safely back to the base. After the pillbox was destroyed, we didn't see them again at all. Our friends were actually able to kill the rock golem when they got into the tree line, so that was a very big win, and they also killed a few more of the wyverns, I think, as well as another griffin. So the people that were attacking us really weren't that great at PvP. They really didn't know what they were doing from the looks of it, and it was a very fun raid defense for a 3x3 stone base to defend against the wyvern griffins and a rock golem. That was a very fun experience to have, and I'm just gonna show you guys exactly what our base looked like over here. This is exactly what it looked like before we got raided. And yeah, as you can see, it really was not much at all, and they were unable to push it, so it was a very fun experience to have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time, so see you.